The Mad Dogs are back. So this is another league where I ran the same list as I did the last couple of videos I did with this deck. I just continue to be very happy with this 75. It's based off almost 6 months of playing the deck, and based off not just my own experience, but hearing various other community members and their experience with the deck. So I continue to be very impressed with this list. I thought I'd just go over the card choices a little more detail, as there's been some more discussions lately about the deck. So as I've talked about before, this list runs just 3 Arrogant Wurms. I for a long time considered 4 to be mandatory, but I think when you're running 4, even when you also have a full playset of all the discard outlets, sometimes you simply can't cast the worm. It just it sits there in turns 3 and 4, and that's just no good. Also going down to just 2 Patrol Hound, and I think it's a really good and a key card for us, but something has to go. And in this list, I'm prioritizing the non-creature spells a little bit higher, basically leaning into the tempo aspect a little bit more, being able to have a few more controlling elements. So I've played a lot with a list that ran 2 Library, 2 Curse Scroll, no Rancors. Here I've just gone to just one of each Curse Scroll and Library. I think this makes sense because they both basically fulfill the same role of being cards that let you stay in the game in a more prolonged game, just giving you a little bit more fuel when the game goes a little bit longer. And also they are both cards that are not good in multiples, so I think they make good sense as one-offs. When you just want to keep applying pressure, you know, sometimes you really don't want to draw libraries, so as a one-off, I think it, you know, it's not gonna be a bad draw most of the time when you get it. So I continue to like it as a one-off. In a way, I would almost rather play it in the sideboard, but I'm very happy with the current sideboard, so it is a one-off in the main as it stands. Also playing 2 Rancor instead of playing 4 total of Library and Curse Scroll. We're playing 2 Rancors. It's just a way to get repeatable value and just push damage. The trample is very relevant, especially on a mongrel. It's also the +2 is also very relevant on a Patrol Hound to punch through walls, and a lot of creatures just get destroyed when you give the Patrol Hound first strike. If you're playing 3 or 4 Rancors, you really need a higher creature density than this current list has. But also, even with that, I think it can lead to awkward situations, like you don't want an opening hand that is 3 Rancors and 1 creature, right? You know, that can just go bad pretty quickly. You also don't want your only creatures to die only, and then get back 1 or 2 Rancors and then draw another Rancor. So 2 Rancors has felt like the sweet spot for me. Yeah, and playing 2 Naturalizes. There's just so many targets for it. And 3 Call of the Herd to up the creature density, and it's just pound for pound one of the best cards that we have available. Of course, it's stable in format, so you know, shouldn't really need explaining, but it is just you know, one of the ways that we get card advantage and overwhelm the board. And again, this list is relying on 4 Wasteland and Rishadan Port to disrupt the opponent. Not playing any factories, one of the reasons is to just keep the mana smooth, but also by not playing factory we can more cleanly play Tsabo's Whip, which is just such an excellent sideboard card against problematic decks like Terragaddon, Oathponcer, and Landstill in particular. Orim's Chant primarily against combo and Dreadnought can also be good against sweepers in control decks. And as one of the community members found, it can also be a very good spell against elves. I thought of it against elves to kind of slow down their development, but he was using it basically in the late game to prevent them from swinging. And I think that's just a brilliant way to use it, um, since elves is such a bad matchup for us. So basically, the idea is to just keep building up your board, um, and then once they start wanting to attack you, you can time walk them and get through with glory and things like that. And then if you also have strands, you can further just deny them attack steps and just get through. I think that's just such a sweet, flexible use of the card, and there's a lot of matchups where it's just can flip the game for you. It is very situational, but I continue to just be impressed with this card. Free Ray of Revelation. Mostly this is against Enchantress, but yeah, it's just good against this card, good against counter spells, good against multiples, Flight Survival, Oath the Druids, and things like that. Just really good value for one card. Reprisal against bigger creatures. Still playing the split of Armadillo Cloak in Absolute Lore. If you're seeing more goblins, I think you should just go double Absolute Lore. Prismatic Strands, just I think one of our best sideboard cards, both against red decks but also to deny combat steps. Tormod Crypt, Curse Scroll, as I mentioned before, when we want to be more controlling, particularly against creature decks, and Tsabo Swip. So yeah, let's jump into the league. Okay, so round one, game one, we're on the play, and we see a fine aggressive curve. We don't really have interaction beside the port, but we'll take it. Just opening up on the lion. And we see a force into wild growth, so almost certainly playing against Enchantress, just using the port here to slow them down, and they get down a Miri's Guile. Play out a tribe and keep porting the land that has been targeted with wild growth. They get down an Enchantress and we draw a Mongrel. I just go for getting out the Mongrel. This way I can keep porting them to slow them down. And Mongrel is one of the best creatures we have in this matchup. Of course it always is, but especially in a matchup like this, where you can get in for a lot by discarding. We do get down a Curse Scroll, which I think you could have argued for just discarding this. Opponent is really starting to get their engine online. They get down a Seed of Cleansing. We draw a Rancor. I feel like I should have just put the Rancor on the Mongrel here. That way they couldn't have jump blocked as easily. But at the same time, it's kind of a tricky situation because if I do that, they can simply Seed of Cleansing it. Here I port the Sanctum. And now they get down a Solitary Confinement. I activate Curse Scroll targeting them. And I actually discard a worm just to make sure that the Curse Scroll can hit. the way this is played out, right now they're just starting to, they just have everything going for them pretty much. They just, if they get a Paradise Wave, it is totally over, but it's basically already over. But the way the game played out, I think you could see that I could have gotten in for more damage earlier by discarding to Mongrel more aggressively. And I think this is just it's a very important thing to keep in mind when you're playing against Enchantress and other similar combo or combo adjacent decks, because you can't rely on having that many attack steps. So discarding early to the Mongrel is just really good, to just get as much damage in as you can. You just see opponent just kind of have it all. And another thing to keep in mind when you're, you know, playing with the Mongrel is that your opponent might be paying life to their lands, either by fetching or just paying lands. It's similar. So just getting in an extra point or two can really make a big difference. In this case, I do scoop it up because, I mean, opponent just has everything going for them. They found a Sterling Grove, so I mean, there's no way for us to get back in this game. Now for game 2 against Enchantress, I bought out 2 Glory. They do play things like Sword, and sometimes you can get through with Glory. They might have, you know, some blockers with Enchantress, and they might have blockers with Opalescence, but generally speaking, that's not it's not gonna come up very often. I take out 4 swords, you know, it's very rare that this is relevant here. And I take out a Curse Scroll. Sometimes they can deal like the last points of damage if they got you locked out with a Parallax Wave. But I don't really think it's worth betting on that. So I take in 3 Ray of Revelation, 2 Orim's Chant, and 2 Tormod Crypt. And keep a 1 land hand. Reasoning is that it's, you know, we do have Channel 1 Tribe into Rootwalla, and even if we don't draw a land, we can do that and also play a Lion. With Ray of Revelation, even if we don't hit a land, we can still disenchant turn 1 enchantment. And we have Naturalize as well, so we have a lot of disenchants going on. Unfortunately, we don't hit a second land, so I am going for Flashing back Ray of Revelation here. I just wanna, against Enchantress, I just wanna hit the early enchantments right off the bat if I can. Once they get just a few enchantments on the board, I mean, they just snowball so quickly, so I think it's really important to just keep them low on resources. Now here, unfortunately, we still don't hit a second land, so it's not looking good. Opponent has an Enchantress down. All we can really do is get out a Lion. They play out a Whip and a Sanctum. Neither looking too relevant here. We get in for 4 and just take out the Sanctum. Opponent finds a presence. We continue to miss our land drop. And now with another presence online, they're just drawing so many cards, and you see the the way this goes, where once they get the engine online, there's almost no hope for us. The Parallax Wave is just, it's not really even a factor. Here I do scoop it up. We continue to only sit on one land, and opponent just has too much going on. I think even if we had something like a Tranquil Domain, opponent has already drawn so many cards that it wouldn't do much. It's unfortunate. I think we could have won game one by discarding more aggressively to the Mongrel, but it can be hard to identify that while you're playing. But this is certainly a tricky matchup either way. On to the next game. Now for game one, round two. On the play again with an aggressive opening hand and some interaction with Wasteland, Naturalize, and Curse Scroll, so happy to keep that. Opponent has a Wasteland for the City of Brass, but we don't really need white as it stands at the moment, so it's not too bad. They bolt our Rootwalla. We draw another Rootwalla. They get down a Mongrel and a Yavimaya Coast, so it's looking like Rock Madness. Looks like Cyberpunker's build with Bolt. We Wasteland them back and get down a Mongrel. Oh. Opponent plays a Careful Study and discarding a Arrogant Wurm and another Careful Study. We are starting to kind of miss our third land. They get down a forest, so they have all their colors. Just playing out a Call of the Herd here. Seize the Days. Here they wasteland one of our wastelands, keeping us down to 2 lands. And they get down an Arrogant Wurm. Finding a Brushland. So we do have Glory potentially available. Now what I do here is I go for a double block on the Arrogant Wurm, discarding Glory to the Tribe, and then instead of activating Glory, I'm going for activating Curse Scroll to take out the Worm. Opponent finds another Worm. I go for activating Scroll on the Mongrel, basically taxing the cards they have in hand, and we see them discarding a Gilded Drake to keep the Mongrel alive. Certainly happy to not have to deal with that, even though it's not currently it wouldn't currently be good for them. It certainly could be if we draw some more creatures. they're getting in with everything, and I block the Rootwalla, discarding a Naturalize. I mean, I think I was kind of hesitant on that play. I could have certainly blocked the Arrogant Wurm in that case. But by blocking the Rootwalla, I make them tap down their lands, and then I can take it out on the following turn with the Curse Scroll. Drawing a sword, I also take out their Worm. Finding another glory here. I'm targeting the Mongrel here with the Curse Scroll again, just to make them discard text their cards in hand. Discarding glory, I can keep the tribe alive. We find an Arrogant Wurm. Curiously, we saw opponent discarding both a 4th land and a bouncer. The 4th land would have allowed them to cast Arrogant Wurm. So the last card must be something pretty good. And we see here that it's mana leak. At least one of the cards was a mana leak. Now again, I target the Mongrel with Scroll, and they discard a Wrath Wurm. Certainly not happy to see that. I just get the Rancor on the tribe and block the Mongrel. Drawing a Mongrel of our own. But unfortunately, the opponent finds a 4th land. And with 2 Wrath Wurms, this is looking pretty bad. I'm just blocking and activating Glory to keep the Mongrel alive. And of course they play out another Worm. Now with a second Mongrel, I can block these 2 indefinitely, in theory. But they find another Mongrel, and they have an Anger, so the Mongrel has haste. Down to 6, so we have to block the Worms. Now we're down to 3, and I do scoop it up here. I would need a 6th land to both deploy the Arrogant Wurm and activate Glory. So I think it's pretty much over. I think I could have played this game a little bit better. There was a few turns of where not much was happening, where I could have flashed back Call of the Herd. I think I kind of forgot about it, but it would have, I think, really helped in the long run. There would have been another blocker here, for example. And you know, if we have another blocker here, we can keep the game going for a long time with thanks to Glory, and then maybe start clawing back with Curse Scroll. But they take game 1. Okay, for round 2, game 2 against Rock Madness, I take out Savannah Lions, Patrol Hound, double Naturalize. So what I take in so here I take in 2 Tormod Crypt. You would argue it's kind of overcorrecting for what I lost to. I just want to have an answer to Wrath of the Wurm. But they have a lot of other ways to get value from the graveyard, so I think it makes sense to bring in the Crypt. I also bought in 1 Prismatic Strands. They tend to run Pyrokinesis, which can be such a blowout for us. It's also just a way to negate combat steps in our favor. And I bring in 3 Ray of Revelation to deal with survival. To that end, I basically take out the Naturalizers because Ray of Revelation is basically two answers in 1 card, so I think 3 is enough. Also take out Sylvan Library. I think it's a little slow when we're on the play. And I do take out 1 Savannah Lion, 1 Patrol Hound. I think they're not the best against that deck. They are gonna have a lot of ways to block them, and with cards like Pyrokinesis and Pyroclasm, they're not at their best. We mull twice, since both hands only had 1 land. And as far as a 5 card hand goes, this could be a lot worse. But I do take out both Tribe and Glory. This is very similar to the first game. We lead on Lion and City of Brass, and the opponent has a Wasteland for the City of Brass. But the fact that they didn't crack the Wasteland immediately certainly suggests that they are low on lands. They get out a Mongrel and we have a Sword. Here we draw a Call of the Herd. So drawing well, despite the fact that we multi 5. It's been a pretty good been some good opening turns for us so far. They're going for a Frantic Search, but thankfully they don't have an Arrogant Wurm. Now the Wasteland are our City of Brass. We draw a Mongrel. Deciding not to attack here, since they have 4 cards in hand, so they can pump the Mongrel a lot. And they get down a second Mongrel. We draw another Sword. And now they find us survival. I take it out with Ray of Revelation, and it doesn't look like they have a counterspell. They also didn't go for an activation. Maybe they were F6'd, or they simply don't have a creature to discard. Now I just get in with everything, simply taking the trade, and they also don't discard to their own mongrel. We do play out another mongrel, and it gets mana leaked. Casting Sword on their mongrel, and they just discard to gain a little bit more life. Pumping the Rootwalla, but they have a Pyrokinesis to take out both the Rootwalla and the Call of the Herd. And now they have a bolt for the Lion, but they are taking damage to do so. And finding our fourth land, we flash back Call of the Herd, this time not forgetting that we have it available. And we take game 2. Okay, for game 3, round 2 against Rock Survival Madness. This time on the draw, I take out 3 more Savannah Lions. Savannah Lions just gets hosed so badly by Pyrokinesis, and now on the draw I want to be a little less vulnerable to that. I also take back one, put back one Curse Scroll. I think it does have a lot of targets, and it's just a good way, if you can get this under permission, it's a good way to keep dealing damage, because sometimes you get into stalemates in this matchup. I also put back Sylvan Library. Again, on the draw, I'm looking to be just a little more controlling. So this is what I went with. And we see a fine 7. No real interaction, but good aggressive curve. Opponent just leads on a Rootwalla. And they're just pumping it. We draw Strands. And here I just equip one of the Rootwallas with Rancor. While they're tapped out, and play out another Rootwalla. They get down a survival. We draw another Strands. Playing out a mongrel while they're tapped out. They do have Squee that they can discard to the survival. Here they cast a Pyroclasm, but we have Strands, so we can negate that. And I get pretty aggressive here, just going for pumping both Rootwallas. It's just kind of going all out here, just discarding aggressively. It's enough to make the opponent concede. So we take the series 2-1. For round 3, game 1, we're on the draw. See a hand here with no early creatures, so I mulligan. Second hand also doesn't have early creatures. I'm just hoping that the Wastelands can find some targets, and that we draw some early threats. Seeing a Plains and a Wayfarer. Into a Grove and Sylvan Library, so it's a very good start for our opponent. I'm discarding, you see me, they target the mongrel with the sword, and you see me discarding very aggressively both Glory and Worm, even though I can't make use of them. This just makes sure that the curse scroll is online. Um, Letting me take out the Wayfarer. Unfortunately, they have Naturalize for the scroll, and they find a mongoose. Into Call of the Herd. So, not looking too good for us. I do decide to block here. I can activate Glory and just take out the mongoose. Playing out a mongrel, still with Glory available, but the Sylvan Library of the opponent is kind of running away with the game. They find a terrible, not yet a big one, but not a card we're happy to see. We do draw a Worm here. Opponent's down to 12 from their own library, and now they cast Cataclysm. I scoop it up. So for round 3, game 2, I sideboard very poorly here. For some reason, I basically had it in my mind that this was Oath Poncer, even though it's obviously Terrageddon. I think I kind of had Oath Poncer on my brain. I think there had been a lot of Oath Poncer content lately, or something. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly why, but this is how I sideboarded, and it's yeah, it's just very bad against Tireless. I take out all the Lions, 2 Patrol Hounds, and 3 Arrogant Wurms, and I Call the Herd. Getting all the Revelation, the Prismatic Strands, the Tormod Crypt. This makes sense against Oath Poncer, but against Tireless, it's really, really, really bad. Mulligan the first hand. I do find a hand with a Mongrel and Tsabo's Whip, but I don't have a second land currently. I do find it here. Opponent has a sword for our Mongrel. Just playing out the Whip, locking down their secluded step. And here you see the problem when you sideboard out so many creatures. I mean, you just don't have enough threat density to really be applying pressure. And yeah, again, if it was against Oath Poncer, I mean, this would be better. But yeah, here it's just really, really bad. A blunder for sure, and it's really we're really getting punished for it. Cataclysm here, enabling threshold for the opponent's mongoose. I do exile a graveyard, so to turn off the threshold. But we still don't have much going on. Opponent gets down a core haven. Not looking too hot with the Tsabo's weapon, all of our wastelands. Finding a Glory, but I don't have a discard outlet. Opponent finds a Naturalize for Tsabo Swip. Here I draw a Mongrel, but I decide to hard cast the Glory. Unfortunately, the opponent has a sword for the Glory. So I think really I should have cast the Mongrel instead and discarded Glory. I think it's just gonna provide a much more value and give us a much better chance at winning the game. Yeah, just kind of taking the trade on with the Mongoose. Opponent finds a Call of the Herd. I just discard and cast the Strands to turn off the damage from the Elephant token. Opponent finds a library, but we have a Ray of Revelation to take it out. Getting down in Rootwalla. But opponent has a bigger creature in the form of a Terror. We find another Mongrel. I think I could have played out the Mongrel. Instead I attack with everything here. And I'm kind of forced to keep back a land to discard to the Mongrel to change its color in order to flash back Strands. And we're heavily blown out here by Pyroclasm. So I think in the end we lost both to poor sideboarding, but I think really the biggest factor was deciding to hardcast Glory instead of discarding it to a Mongrel. I think it just would have made much more sense to put it in the graveyard. The game actually was quite close in the end. I think we would have simply won with if we had the Glory available. So 2 blunders cost us that game, but that's how it goes sometimes. Now for round 4, game 1. On the draw against Dirty H. He's certainly a very friendly player. He tends to either play Iggy Pop or Grow Talk. I've played against him quite a lot, and usually when he's playing Iggy Pop, he beats me. But when he's playing Grow Talk, I tend to win. I think as good as a matchup as something like Sly is for us, Grow Talk might actually be the best matchup. I think I've only lost once or twice out of I don't know how many games. But we'll see what he's playing this time. Flooded Strand into Portent, certainly looking like Grow Talk. just getting down a tribe. He gets down a Dryad. I put Rancor on the tribe so they can both swing in. Playing out a Curse Scroll and also wastelanding the City of Brass. Opponent casts a sword targeting Patrol Hound. I just discard a Glory and they scoop in response. So we take game 1. Game 2 against Roadhog. I take out 2 Naturalize. They don't typically play a lot of targets for this. And I'll just take out 1 Curse Scroll. This just quickly gets outscaled by their threats. I think it can be good, but in this case I do decide to take it out. I bought in 2 Prismatic Strands. They often have cards like Pyroclasm that I want to dodge. I also bought in 1 Reprisal. It pretty quickly gets to hit both their Dryads and their Psychotalks. And we keep a hand with Glory, Swords, Tribe, Lion. Drawing a Patrol Hound. They get down an early Dryad. And we just sort it right away. I decide to play out both the Tribe and Patrol Hound. Unfortunately, they have a fire to hit both the Tribe and the Lion. Or I discard a Glory to keep the Tribe alive. Play out a Lion. Now I do have Glory available. Glory is just really good against that deck. One of the reasons that it is such a favorite matchup for us, since we can just block their threats over and over. Here I wasteland the City of Brass with only 1 counter left on the Gemstone Mine. I'm hoping to shut them off their other colors. Pretty aggressively I go for activating Glory and get in. And we're heavily punished here. They have another Pyroclasm. So we lose everything but the Tribe. Now drawing a library is certainly one of the ways we could recover. They're just cycling an ice on the City of Brass, dealing us a damage in the process. And hitting with the Dryad, we're down to just two life here. And they get down a Psychic Talk. We do draw a sword, but of course they have counterspell, and now any of the creatures getting through is gonna be lethal. So they do take game 2 or round 4, game 3 against Grotok. This time I sideboard a little differently. I take out 4 lions, put in another Prismatic Strands and an Absolute Law. Basically deciding I don't want to lose to Pyroclasm at all. I also take in the double Curse Scroll and 1 Armadillo Cloak. I've actually had some success with Armadillo Cloak in this matchup. Yeah, I think it can be pretty good. Since you get into these stalemate situations with Glory, you can chip through, and life total can matter quite a bit. So yeah, this is what I go with. First hand only has green mana and only 1 land, so but I do keep it. Pretty greedy keep. I do have Rancor available, but I think this is I don't know. I wouldn't really advise this keep. But if we draw a plains white source, I mean we have Absolute Law and double swords, and then another land we have Call of the Herd available. So it's a hand that could be really good, but it certainly has a high chance to fail, I think. But we're not punished. Getting down an Absolute Law. Opponent gets down and Dryad, and we just have a Swords and a Rancor. Opponent gets down a Psychic Talk, taking out their own Gemstone Mine in the process. We draw another Rancor and take out the Psychic Talk with the sword. Also also have a Prismatic Strands now. Drawing a Glory. Just pumping the Rootwalla. It does get the hit with sword, but at least we get back the Rancors. And now we draw a third land. Opponent scoops it up to Call of the Herd. I mean, certainly an extremely good card in this matchup. And with the double Rancor, I mean, even if they have a counterspell, we're gonna be able to flash it back. And with the Rancors available, I mean, yeah, it's very quickly gonna be able to overwhelm. And we take game 3, taking down the series 2-1. Now for round 5, we're on the play and keeping a fine aggressive hand. Our interaction is just Wasteland and Port, but we do have Rancor and 1 drops, 2 drops, so happy to keep this. We see an island into sleight of hand, so it could be another Grotok deck. getting down a mongrel. Now we see Peat Bog, so it's certainly suggesting a combo deck. Just getting down a Rancor and Wastelanding the Peat Bog. We also see Suppressing Scurry. Yeah, and we just stay very aggressive, discarding to the mongrel, getting opponent down to 4, and they do scoop it up. Okay, so round 5, game 2. Here I wasn't actually sure what exactly I was playing against. I knew it was combo, and I knew I had played against these kinds of lands before, but I couldn't recall exactly what I was playing against. So I sideboarded as though it was combo, and I took in Ray of Revelation, hitching against some sort of enchantment. In retrospect, I'm almost certain it was Doomsday. Yeah, but not being exactly sure what I was playing against in the moment. Here I took out 4 swords, 2 Call of the Hood, 1 Glory, 1 Curse Scroll, and I took in 2 Tormod Crypt, 2 Orim's Chant, 1 Prismatic Strands, and 3 Ray of Revelation. Seeing a decent hand. The only interaction really is Ray of Revelation. So I'm kind of hoping that they are relying on enchantment. Opponent just plays a Scurry and passes. Now they play a Gemstone Mine, pass once again. I get down in Rootwalla, and I'm just pumping here. Opponent plays Limdul's Vault, and we see them very aggressively drawing off it here. They go all the way down to 7. Once again making no play. I put Rancor on the Tribe. And just pump the Rootwalla to just stay as aggressive as I can, deal as much damage as I can. This would take them down to 1, meaning if they have any, if they're paying life, maybe from a fetch land or another Limdul's Vault, it would kill them. So it is enough to take them out. So we just we get there by just being as aggressive as possible. We didn't play any disruption, but just relying on aggression, and it was enough. So in the end, we went 3-2, losing to Enchantress and Terrageddon. I think in both cases we could have played those losses better. Against Enchantress, I could have discarded more aggressively to the mongrel and quite possibly taken game 1, which would certainly increase our chances of taking down another game. It is overall a bad matchup, but with the right play and draws, we certainly can win. And against Terrageddon, again I sideboarded very poorly, sideboarding as though it was Oath Poncer, even though it certainly wasn't. And we were really punished for it, just being so low on creatures. Yeah. But the wins were pretty good, I think. They may have been decent matchups, but overall I think the deck did fine. Yeah, and I continue to be very happy with this deck list. Yeah, thanks for watching.